Hello, my name is Matthew, and I just read How Much Land Does a Man Need by Tolstoy. And the premise alone, if you just know what the premise is, you might think this is something that would come out of the mind of Kafka because it's so absurd and extreme, taking things to their most outrageous logical conclusions. Uh, Now, it's not a piece of absurdism in the hands of Tolstoy, it's a parable. So, Tolstoy wrote historical fiction. He wrote stories that have deep psychological and emotional insights, character studies, dramas, and nice, neatly packed short stories. Um, a lot of them are these parables, these very simple, cut and dry tales of morality, where they're not necessarily characters, they're allegorical figures or archetypes to address some point of morality. So that's what this story is supposed to do. Um, it's called "How Much Land Does a Man Need?" Question mark. And we have these farmers or landowners somewhere in Russia, and we have a main character. His name doesn't matter, like a Kafka story. And there's land divided up. He has his land, neighbors have their land, and and he's very protective of his land. And some animals would accidentally wander off on his land, and he goes to court. So of course, then the neighbors are purposefully going into his land and vandalizing and being destructive and destroying crops or trees. Makes him very, very upset. He decides to go look for more land. Comes across somebody that says, oh, like even farther out in the country, the land is more bountiful and more fruitful, and you can get more land for even cheaper. You'd be less impecunious. And so he goes off, gets even more land, and then he's not quite happy with the land that he has. And then another distant traveler comes by and says, "Oh, deep, deep into the Caucasus, there's land that's even more bountiful and more fruitful, and you can get it for almost nothing." So he goes off into the wilderness, and he comes across these native inhabitants of this distant, remote part of Russia, and it's described that the land actually is just like a dream, everything that you could ask for, and it is for sale. But the way that they sell, the way that the native inhabitants sell the land, is very alien to our main character, and very strange. So instead of saying, this is the amount of land, this is a parcel of land and it costs this much, instead they say, we'll sell you the land for this really great price, and it's determined by how much land you can cover in a single day. And so it's this challenge. He wakes up, he gets himself ready, he has his boots and rations, and is ready for the weather. And it's a demonstration of greed and or restraint and sensibility. So he starts marching off, and the farther away he gets, potentially the more land he can acquire. The danger is that if he gets too far away, he won't make the return trip in time. And if he doesn't make it uh, back to the starting point by sunset, he loses the money and the deal is off. And so we have this guy. Now he's out in the middle of nowhere. He's been walking all day, and he'll see a lake or something and think, I can cut around. I'll still make it on time. But look, now I want to have this, and I'm going to have this part of the land and this part of the land. And he gets himself so far out, realizes in a panic, he really has to hurry to get back. But he's been um, physically active the entire day, constantly in motion. And it's a hot day. The sun comes out. He's sweating, and he has to take his clothes off and take his jacket off. And at some point, he takes his boots off, and he's walking, and his socks are barefoot, and his feet hurt. He's getting dehydrated. He's hungry, exhausted. And he gets to a point. He looks up this hill, and he can see the end point, the starting point. And from where he is, the sun had already set, and he had lost. But he realizes, this is actually a very astute observation from Tolstoy concerning the natural sciences, that the elevation of the starting point is higher than where he is. And so, from their perspective, the sun still hadn't set. And so, with a last burst of physical energy, he just completely diminishes his physical exertion. He just puts everything he has into getting to the end point, the starting point. And he gets there against all odds. This man has just trooped himself to the point of exhaustion, and he falls down, and the inhabitants are actually cheering him on. It's not like they're trying to cheat him. But when he falls down next to his hat that he placed as the starting point, he dies, which is just so like perfectly a Kafka story in my mind. And then, for added effect, the title plays into it. How much land does a man need? So after all of this, the man's dead, and how much land does a man need? It turns out just enough space for his body to occupy a grave. I love reading these Tolstoy short stories, especially the ones that are very, very clearly morality tales. This one is quite dark. I've been reading a lot of Tolstoy short stories recently, but I wanted to talk about that one, a very Kafka-esque Tolstoy story. So let me know if you've read it. Thank you for watching, and take care. Bye.